Hello YouTube, this is Patrick and I am back with another edition of Heavy Therapy. I'm in my review corner. Last time I sat down here, I reviewed the new Full of Hell album. This was last year around late October 2021. And now I'm back for another review. I didn't know what my next review would be, and just while I was listening and thinking a lot, I found myself thinking a lot about this album, and I'll explain the reasons. And I thought I had something to say about it. So let's do this. So I am reviewing the latest album from the Tampa, Florida based band Underoath. This is their 9th studio album. It is titled Voyeurist, and it came out, I think it was January 20th, maybe January 14th. That's what it was, 2022. And there's the back of it there. And came out on Fearless Records. Here's the inside of the vinyl. And the reason I wanted to review this album was because I have a long history with this band. So let's see, the year 2005, I would have been 18 years old. Define the Great Line came out. And I actually remember that drive. I drove to the mall by myself. I picked up the new Underoath album. And that was my first Underoath album, and I remember driving home, and I just, the first few seconds of track one in regards to myself, it totally floored me. At that point of my musical journey, that was some of the heaviest music I had ever heard. It was dark, it was bleak, I didn't know what genre really it was, and I loved it. I loved it. I played it a bunch that week. I became a giant Underoath fan, and I followed them ever since. I was always picky about um, what bands of their caliber, of their genre. I was always picky about it. So let's, I guess, officially begin the review part of this. So, brief biography of the band. Underoath has been around for over 20 years, maybe 25 years. They began in Tampa, Florida. The only original member left from the band is the drummer and co-vocalist Aaron Gillespie. But they've had a solid, this same set of 6 guys since 2003 onwards, with the brief detour when the only founding member left, Aaron Gillespie, left the band around 2009, I believe, 2010. He is back for this album. But so, what kind of music does Underoath play? Well, the earlier stuff was actually black metal, death metal, but they really broke through on their third LP, They're Only Chasing Safety, and that was textbook screamo. But when I say textbook, they were one of the biggest bands to push this type of music. Heavy guitars with clean, whiny, poppy choruses. But yeah, again, still heavy. What genre do they play now? Well, that will be part of this review, but I would say they are a post-hardcore band for the most part. That's the big tent genre that Underoath finds themselves in 2022. So the band is, like I already said, Aaron Gillespie plays drums and he does some of the vocal work. Then you have Spencer Chamberlain. He does vocals. I believe he plays guitar sometimes, but the album did not come with liner notes, so it's hard to know. It's hard to know. The other members are Tim McTague, he is the lead guitar player and the main guitar. He writes all the guitar parts. Then you have Chris Dudley on keyboards and synth, atmospherics. Then you have, I actually forgot James. James Smith is his last name. James Smith plays rhythm guitar, and Grant Brandel plays bass. 6 members of Underoath. So let's get to Voyeurist. So the funny thing about my first reaction was quite negative. I listened to it when it came out. I streamed it, and I even wrote a first reaction on the Underoath subreddit. And yeah, I was quite critical of my first listen. I had more expectations than I remembered. Again, I was into this band since I was 18 years old, more than 17 years ago, and I wasn't even looking forward to the album. So that's why it was kind of an interesting mix of emotions, because I didn't realize how disappointed I was. So just did not like the album on my first listen. I didn't even think I was going to listen to it again, except I knew I had the vinyl coming, which is an interesting situation. I pre-ordered it. I don't pre-order that many albums, actually. I pre-ordered it. So I knew I was going to open it and listen to it on vinyl. I tend to think the vinyl production, when it's done right, the vinyl mix, when it's done right, brings out the rhythm guitar, the rhythm section better, at least with my setup. Maybe it's my needle and not even the quality of the vinyl or whatever, and yeah, something besides just that I wanted to play it on my turntable, something told me to keep listening, and now I've given it 5 or 6 spins, and I like this album. So I don't love this album, but I like this album. So I'm going to kind of go in order. There's only 10 tracks, and that'll kind of build this album for you if you haven't heard it. So first 2 tracks. Let's take the first 2 tracks. The first 2 tracks, track 1, Damn Excuses, and track 2, Hallelujah, were the first 2 releases from this album. Damn Excuses sounds like heavy Underoath, pretty cool, thrashy, hardcore riffs, but still done in the, unconventional Underoath style. Fast, moving song, aggression, breakdowns. It makes me think of Lost in the Sound of Separation era Underoath. Yeah, I like the song. It was heavy, it was aggressive, and it gave me high hopes for the album, even though I said I didn't have high expectations. By the time I actually listened to all of the pre-release tracks, I kept going back and forth of whether or not how much I liked them. Track 2, Hallelujah, that'll make you think of Define the Great Line, and the song Writing on the Walls. The breakdown part, the bridge section of that song has this clean, though haunting chorus, literally choral, choir part. But this time the band decided to make the choir part the main part of the song, the verses instead of the bridge. And again, if there wasn't Spencer doing growls underneath the choir, I probably would have thought the song was too poppy. But it does a pretty nice. I think they understood that, and again, these first 2 songs hit pretty hard. They are 2 of the best songs on the album. Compared to some of their other first 2 tracks on the album, on their other albums, however, tiny bit underwhelming. The next track, I'm Pretty Sure I'm Out of Luck and Have No Friends, starts with a phone call, a 911 phone call, and it's trying to set this mood. It's trying to set this atmosphere. And then a cool, groovy bass line kicks in, and this is kind of like the emergency broadcast syndrome part of this album. That is the name of their song from their album Disambiguous. Sorry, another song from Lost in the Sound of Separation. I'm looking it up because I think I gave the wrong name of that song. I think I might have just gave you a name of a Every Time I Die song. No, that was right. Emergency Broadcast. Yeah, I was wrong. Emergency Broadcast. What the hell is that song called? Emergency Broadcast, The End is Near. So, track 3, I'm pretty sure I'm out of luck and have no friends. Yeah, it's sort of, it is the Emergency Broadcast, The End is Near track for Voyeurist. That is a track from their Lost in the Sound of Separation album. When I first heard it, I did not like it. In fact, this was the track that started my downward spiral. First 2 tracks were good, but they weren't great. I didn't feel like there was any momentum being built. And then right away, track 3 starts with this ambient phone call. I'm like, what's going on? Now, I think it's probably one of my favorite tracks on the album. It's one of their most ambitious, and it does get quite heavy in the middle towards the end, and has really cool heavy guitar part. And yeah, I actually like the song a lot now. That goes into Cycle, featuring Ghost Main. Still didn't like the momentum, again, the first time around. Didn't like the song when it was first released. This is like the 3rd song or fourth song that was released before the album was released. Now I like it. I like Cycle. It's a very strong track. Heavy, aggressive, energetic. Don't know who Ghostmain is, which that's going to get into my more general overall thoughts towards the end about who this album is for, so forth. Then track 5, this is the side A of the vinyl. It ends with track 5 called Thorn, and this makes you think of Erase Me a lot, which is their previous album, which was, I would call that album closer to hard rock than post-hardcore. But this blends what they were doing on Erase Me well with some of their older soundscapes. And I like Thorn. So, first 5 tracks are really strong. I think this is a top-heavy or front-loaded album, actually. First 5 tracks are my favorite tracks out of the 10. Then you have side B, if you have it on vinyl, the second half of the album. It begins with No Oasis, which is this soft, slow-burning track, mostly, if not entirely, sung by Aaron Gillespie. It reminds me of some of the softer songs on Lost in the Sound of Separation. Doesn't really go anywhere. Not a huge fan of it. Goes right into, in this case, transitions well into Take a Breath, which is bouncy, Deftones-like, heavy song. It's good, but I don't like it better than anything on the front half. Goes into We're All Gonna Die. This also was one of my least favorite tracks when I first listened to it. It's trying to combine, it's a radio-friendly, though heavy, nice, catchy, heavy rock song. But now I like it. And it has some of my favorite lyrics on the album, even though, again, I first thought they were quite cheesy. But as somebody on the subreddit reminded me, these lyrics might not be for me, because this band used to be a Christian band, and I think some of the members still are, but some of the members aren't. And it's quite a visceral song, really expressing deep disappointment, anger, and frustration at, I think, some of their at sort of American Christianity and how they're hypocritical and they don't really help people a lot of the times, and they're judgmental and they're fake. So again, I said, I can't relate to those lyrics very much. I'm a secular person. But there's versions of that song, is what I was reminded of, in terms of politics, where I like the visceral, straightforward, almost angsty lyrics. This is angsty about leaving religion and how you can become quite critical of your fellow past church-going people, church-going Christians. So, yeah, now I think the song's quite good. I really like the vocal melody that Aaron brings to this track, where he says, "Let's be honest, I'm heartless, I could care less." Cool part. Um, that goes into Numb. Don't really like the chorus on this song at all. It almost sounds twangy and country, and this is where Aaron is bringing in his more country influences. And I don't want to think of country when I'm listening to Underoath. And then it ends with this 7-minute slow building track called Pneumonia that ends with this heavy part that, again, I don't think it's not immediately, it doesn't immediately do for me what I think it's supposed to do, but I've come to appreciate the song for what it is. So this is a confusing album for me. I like it, but I don't love it. There are no songs to me that are a 10 out of 10. There's not even any songs that are a 9 out of 10. The first 5 tracks I would give, they're all like 8.5s out of 10. But there's also no song that's below a 7 in my opinion. So yeah, I'll give you the overall number later, but that's my way of trying to say there are parts of every song on this album that I would change a little bit. That are some of the, even if it's just a word, a vocal part, a section, a transition. There are parts on every song, almost every song, that bring down the song a little bit for me, if not a lot. And for me, Define the Great Line, Lost in the Sound of Separation, and Disambiguation are at least 9 out of 10s. Disambiguation is my favorite Underoath. It's their heaviest, it's their most metal, it's their most... Yeah, it fits the most with my style, my preference of sounds for my ears. And yeah, but I've come to appreciate Underoath at what they've turned into as, as 37, 38-year-olds. They're all a little bit older than me. Maybe the youngest member of the band is my age. I'm 34. So it's this weird feeling of some parts of this album sounds like it's for teenagers still. Some parts sound like it's definitely an older, more mature Underoath, but they're kind of at tension, which is fine. I don't mind that. But yeah, this sounds like Lost in the Sound of Separation Underoath meets Erase Me, put together in a nice blend. I think Aaron stands out for me on this album in a positive way, which that was not my first reaction to this album. Aaron's vocals I sometimes have a love-hate relationship with, but I like what the band came up with. I like what they've turned into. I would enjoy seeing this live. I like to see how they blend in older tracks and how it all fits together. So, for my quantitative part of the review, let's do this. So, musicianship, I would give this like a 7.9. A 7.9 in musicianship. I like the layers. Chris Dudley, the keyboardist, shines. There's a lot of tracks on here that I know that Chris Dudley was all over. They definitely create an atmosphere that is unique to Underoath. The mix is, I've now come to appreciate the mix, which I didn't first feel positive towards at all. It does not suffer from the loudness dynamics of some of their earlier albums. Sounds good on wax. Let's see. Then we have creativity. Again, I actually think this is a quite creative album. Still give it around a 7.9. Not too many bands sound like Underoath. It's quite creative. It's not the most creative. Songs, composition, track order. I do think the album is front loaded, but I don't know exactly how I would change the track order at the same time. Yeah, again, weird, right? I don't think Underoath are great songwriters. I don't think they're bad songwriters. This is their first album entirely self-produced, which is cool. According to Aaron Gillespie in an interview that I watched the other night, this to him is the most complete sounding Underoath album where everybody's on the same page. This is what the band really wants to sound like, so that's cool. Overall, I give this a 7.9. Consistent, good, if not great, Underoath album. I would say if you've never heard Underoath, probably not watching this video, but for fans of Norma Jean, Thrice, Every Time I Die, Taproot. Taproot, I'm thinking of the baritone guitar that Tim uses. But, yeah, good, atmospheric, melodic, post-hardcore band. You're going to find something to like. You might be frustrated at some parts of it as well, depending on your age, depending on the type of lyrics that you like, depending on the production that you like, and so forth. My favorite tracks, I already said them, but my favorite tracks are, the first 5 albums, the first 5 tracks. I'll say Damn Excuses is my favorite track, and then I'm pretty sure I'm Out of Luck and Have No Friends is my second favorite track. And while I'm at it, here's what the vinyl looks like. They call it the Cerebellum variant, but it's like this dark red, almost auburn marble with these black, almost black splatter chunks thrown in. So yeah, Underoath Voyeurist is a good album from a band that has great albums. And I am happy to own it, actually. It keeps growing on me way more than I thought it would. And I do think I'll continue to listen to this throughout the year. And yeah, thanks for watching. And please like, comment, and subscribe. And again, if you're new to Underoath, I would say check them out if you like post-hardcore music. If you're not new, what are your thoughts on this album? Do you like it? What are other bands that you recommend that are putting out similar music? And yeah, thanks for watching. Talk to you all later. Bye.